There it is. Guard. Fuck you, help me talk me into this shit. So, we're gonna start going into some of the more advanced guards. Starting in on some stuff here. We'll do a little bit from the no-gi, a little bit from the gi, and then we're gonna go into some takedowns after that. So first thing we're going to work on is just a really basic open guard, getting to it, getting our feet to the hips properly, and the things you're going to be able to do from that open guard versus kind of the more traditional closed guard and why I prefer it. So once we get here, obviously in the gi, you would grab some pajama claws. For me, I always like to start, if I'm going to go for an open guard, I'm going to grab that wrist and I'm going to go dominant hand to the back of his neck here. And I want to start controlling that posture here. So once we get here, all we're going to look to do is shrimp and drive our knees to that inside bottom here. Once we get there, I'm generally either going to leave the hand here or I like to go kind of that meat claw right to the back of his armpit here. You can either stay on the wrist here or do the same thing on this side. As soon as we get here, I'm going to go foot in, heel in, and look to hang here on that open guard. Now, open guard is going to be two things. One is less secure, two is much more active. All right? So if you're like, hey, I'm breathing really hard and I'm tired right now, don't go to open guard. Not a great spot to be in if you're not, ready to move and ready to attack. But if you're like, hey, I can feel him breathing hard, I know he's not feeling this, I can push the pace, instead of going to closed guard and being like, oh yeah, I can very methodically start attacking shit. No, go and get here, get to open guard, and start working. Couple things you want. One, obviously heels in, so that way you have a good wide base. Here, we're being a bad girl today, you're gonna have your hips real wide, all right? You do not want to have your knees close together, because if you do, you're just going to get weaved past and I'm going to get to laugh at you from Matt's side. It'll be really funny for me, much less so for you. So we're here, boom, keeping those wide, and I'm looking to keep my shins dug into his biceps here. Because if James goes to start to move and do things, I need to be able to follow, push, pull, extend, and contract. I want to manage that distance, because that's what's going to give me the options for my attacks. Right? Now, couple gripping options, because I want you to have a few. One, meat hooks just to the back of those arms. Great option. If you were in pajamas, you can go cuff grips. I have children-sized hands, so I don't like gripping wrists a lot. It's just not a very common grip for me, because they can't make a good grip. I'm not Corey. Corey can grab your wrist and it's officially his until the end of time. I can't do that. But you can go to the wrist here and here. A couple other details. Very rarely am I going to tell you to be very flat in this. You generally want to be open to your dominant side. So I want my right hand up, so I'm going to open to that side. So that way when I'm going here and going to some of the attacks and things we're going to work on here in just a second, that's the side I'm working with.
Is this like the same? Is this like the no-gi version of spider guard?
Yeah, this is where you would start to build into spider guard. So like, you would go open guard first and then go if you wanted to.
But you're still trying to off balance from here.
Yes, I'm always trying to off balance from here, because if I just sit here and I'm like, hey James, you should probably, be comfortable, he's going to start to do things I don't like. So I'm always looking to off balance and do things, and that's going to be where we start to set up some of our attacks and some of the things we want to work on. But I just want to work on getting to this position and getting comfortable first. So questions on this?
How do you slip into that at the start? Are you enclosed, or do you have your legs around and get there?
Generally, I'm going to work out of just a simple closed guard. That's going to be where we start today. Generally, I'm looking just to kind of off balance a little bit. I'm looking to frame with this hand, head grip here, shrimp, and get to my open guard, and then choose the grips that make sense for me.
Right.
You're kind of you're forcing this position, not just taking it passively.
When you're transitioning right from that being with your legs crossed,
yeah.
Are you working that collar tie like you just did there?
Yeah, absolutely. You're off balancing here, because once we're here, boom, I'm going to be in control there and coming into that open. And once you're there, boom, then you can switch your grips, go wrists if you prefer up top, comes in a little bit tighter, but you can get better grips there as well. Other questions on this? All right, how I want this to look, I want you to drill it out with your partner. Boom, get into that position. And then I want you guys to shift and off balance for just, 4 or 5 seconds. Just kind of move your hips a little. See how that feels and start getting comfortable in the actual position. Because that's going to be where we start to build off. And we're going to probably rattle off 3 pretty quick submissions today. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Boom. Couple things. 1, I want both of my knees to the insides of his elbows. I don't care if it's wrist grips, meat hooks, collar, whatever. You can have a mix of those grips, but I don't care which. You want to come both knees to the inside. Whatever happens, my knees have to be inside of the elbows for this to start working, okay? Now, once we get here, as far as what grips you should be using, should come really down to 2 factors, what you're comfortable with and what you're trying to do. All right? So for this first one, I'm going to look to be on my right hip, and I'm going to have with my left hand, I'm going to have a nice little wrist grip. With my right hand, I'm either going to be top or I'm going to be on this tricep here. Now, once we get here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to look to off balance him that little bit and put my foot right on the ball of his knee here. As we do that, I'm looking to kick his knee, not backwards, but out, kind of at that 45, here. As I'm doing that, I'm going to sit myself up, pulling his wrist across, with my hand coming from that meat hook, across to the kind of back of his tricep. We'll pull that in and come behind you. Now, ideally, you land behind him and all goes well, right? Fairly unlikely though. So we're here. Boom, I'm working, boom, I come here. Sometimes it's not gonna work. And James is gonna post and be in a halfway decent position. Can you smell it? That's good. Probably just hot. But boom, you get here. All we're gonna look to do is transition that hand from that tricep to posting his wrist. I wanna frame that into the ground. As soon as we're there, you have 2 options. You can be lazy or you can be athletic. I don't care which one. If you're lazy, grab his hip, scoop back, pull him in you. If you're athletic, post your outside foot. Look to get both hooks in. Start working from that way. I don't care. That's more of a preference. I prefer to take the back and come up there because I want to stretch you out and flatten you out on your face, especially for MMA. That's the more practical option. So I'm here. Boom. I'm working with James. Boom. I get to here, right? I'm there. I'm not looking to kick. See, if I kick his knee back, he just kind of stays where he's supposed to be. But if I kick that knee out, he starts to off balance. Here, pull. Ideally, I can get all the way to his back without doing anything else. But if not, you post that wrist. Look to take that back. Questions on this? Yes, sir.
I just want one leg in.
You want to eventually work to both boots in, but starting with that first one in and then working from there. You got to get points. So if you get both hooks in there, it's 4 points. So you're always working to both hooks.
We're still on that one leg in.
Yes. Yeah. As I'm turning that corner there. So boom, I come here. This leg should naturally basically fall off the hip and be in. Like there shouldn't be much of a putting it in. Eventually, you're going to look to be here. Once again, do not cross your feet unless you like walking boots. All right. Other questions on this? And one more, other than one more? Oh, if I'm taking this back and I'm too far forward? Yeah, so it's called lock your hands. Boom. If I'm here and I'm way too high up here, lock your hands behind his chest, get both hooks in, and stretch. Oh, Jesus. Then you can scoop yourself back. Chicken on a skewer, as old Carlos would say. Stretch him out, then you can scoop yourself back. Oh, yeah. That's a good stretch. Listen, if their face is buried in the mat, it's going to be really hard for them to do a lot of things. That's why I like stretching people out there. Because for the uncivilized who want to hit people, I just stretch you out and hit you until a ref politely asks me to stop. But if you're civilized and want to just choke people, then you stretch them out and start choking them. Either way.
Yeah.
All right? Other question? Oh.
Are you trying to maintain that wrist control when you're going up towards the top? Or are you trying to hold on to that wrist?
I'm trying to keep, control is probably a loose word. I'm trying to keep track of it, if nothing else. Because once I get this hip, once this knee kind of clears the back, this becomes very ineffective. So at that point, then I'm going backpack drill or something of that nature. But I can't really let go of that wrist until that knee clears to that far side. So once that happens, then you're looking for backpack drill, back take drills, all that stuff starts to come in more versus that wrist control being effective. 1, 2, 3. So now that I'm here, boom, I frame out, I get to my open guard. A lot of the times, they have two pretty simple reactions on this. Either way, I really don't mind. One of the more simple reactions is people will realize that, hey, I don't like that I have control of the space here. Realize most of jiu-jitsu is who's dictating the space. So if I'm here and I start to dictate the space, James isn't like that. He's either going to look to do exactly what he's doing, posture up and away, and look to start passing, or he's going to look to bull rush into you and try to kind of smother your hips and take control. Either way, I really don't mind. It's going to give us options either way. So if I'm here, and boom, I'm here, and James starts to really look to kind of posture up here, one of the more common things that people will do, especially if you have the gi here, is they're going to look to kind of square up, pull up, and get to those inside grips to grab your knees here. That's actually one of the things I will teach you guys to counter this is posture. One of the nice things I like about that is it does set up a very nice omoplata sweep. So boom, as James goes to posture up, 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 I really like that. Boom. Here, all I'm going to look to do, I'm going to look to bring my foot, kick it through, and I'm going to tuck his wrist behind my butt. So I'm here, boom, I kick through, and I'm looking to tuck this here. As I do that, I push off with my opposite leg as I swing this foot around. Boom. Here. Now, once you're here, you're going to cross your feet. I swear to God, if one of you figure fours here, I'm going to punch Cheney right in the mouth. It'll be really nice for me. All right? You cross your feet, extend your legs, and grab the wrist with the other hand. You hammer those heels down and sit yourself up. Once you get here, then you can figure four. You don't even need to, though. I like to keep my feet out here. Scoot away until James' hips flatten out. Then this is where I like to figure four, driving my thigh right behind his elbow, and then you whisper just the weirdest shit you can in his ear. Like, you smell different when you because it takes a second for that one to burn into someone's brain. What do you mean I smell different? When I'm awake. So, we're here. We're here, James starts to posture up. I don't appreciate that. Once again, I'm going to kick that leg out, push off that hip, and swing over. Here. Once we get here, I keep my feet crossed and heavy out in front of me. Because if I do not, all James has to do here to counter this is post his head up. Look up here. Act like you got a purple belt on purpose. There you go. I was going to roll. But if I'm here, James can't get his head up, which then will force him to want to roll here, which is why I grabbed that hip. Because if James goes to roll here, it actually really helps me flatten him out. Oh, God. Once we're here, figure four. I really don't like figure four here. I like to just post both feet in the mat. Drive in. Finish the omoplata. Now remember, if you can't finish the omoplata here, certain people are just Gumby armed. Realize you can also wrist lock the world. Alright? Because in life you need more enemies, not more friends. Questions on this one? So boom, we're here. I'm in this guard, boom. He starts to posture up. I don't like that. Boom, set myself up. Keeping that weight heavy in front of him. Scoop myself away. Pull this leg in tight. I like to drive this thigh right behind his elbow. That's what makes this really tight to his shoulder. Makes James feel really good about the submission. Like I said, you can either wrist lock here because you're a jerk, or sit up and finish. Either way. Alright? With your friends. 1, 2, 3. I'm here. Boom. I open. I get to open guard, right? So a lot of the time what people like to do in this position is they say, hey, I don't like that he's moving too much. I'm going to close the distance and look to control his head. So what a lot of people are going to do is start pressuring in and start trying to kind of get those thigh grips and control you a lot here. This is one of my favorite ones because it sets up one of my best submissions. So all we're going to look to do is I like to come from here into my chin cup. So I'm here into here, just grabbing that chin. All we're going to look to do is I'm going to kick his hips back. As I do, I'm going to snap his head here, keeping my feet on the hips the whole time. Once we get here, he's naturally going to want to drive back in, and you're just going to turn your hand. So we're here. Most of you who try to pass my butterfly guard have felt this at some point. You can do it from here. Bop, I'm here. I have a grip on his chin. Back of his head, I snap him in like it's a football. Once you're there, you grab the fatty part of your hand and roll your hands like you're trying to check your wristwatch. Once you're there, do not let your legs go limp here. A lot of people make the mistake of like doing that, and it's going to let him pass. If he passes that way, he's dead, so it doesn't matter. But if he passes the other way, he's okay. James panics, so that's why I let choke. It's not a fun choke to be stuck in. So we're here. Boom, James starts to drive into me really hard. Because a lot of guys will do this, and they're going to look to pressure pass here. They're going to look to stack pass, any of those things. I like to just take advantage of that by just being here and come in. If you step back into half guard or some sort of closing of your guard, that's fine. You just always want to fall on top of the head. Here, and brace the other side. You just don't want to let him pass opposite of his head. And you're always tucking to the chin cup hand. So if I chin cup with the other hand, which I generally don't, but if I'm here and I chin cup here, I'm looking always to come this way. Both suck, so I'm just better with my right hand.
The chin cup, is that the first thing you're putting on his head? Or are you getting over and then?
It's a like rhythm. It's not a 1-2. It's not a 1-2 type thing. Because once we get here, it's bop, bop, tuck and go. Like this is one of those aggressive. Once I've decided to do this to James, it's really fun. James has, once you guys ask a lot of new questions here. I'm literally cupping that chin, grabbing that fatty part of my hand, and I'm rolling his chin in my hand to check my wristwatch. All right, as I have this tucked here.
So it's all one quick movement, right?
Yeah, it's all fairly quick in 1 to 2 motions.
Nicer you tuck his head, like rib cage.
Yeah, so what I'm looking for here, when I'm with James is, for lack of a better, so imagine James's head is a football. It has a point here and a point here. When you're in Pee Wee football, they teach you to grab the point with your hand and tuck the other point into your bicep. Kind of similar thing here. I'm trying to tuck his head right to my bicep into that armpit. Because if I have to, he's still right there. I'm not trying to like bury him in my armpit, because there's some defense things you can do from there. So I'm just looking to tuck it tight right here, and then that's going to let me do it.
Your leg should end.
So like if I'm just my leg side of it, so boom, I'm here, boom, James drives in, boom, I come here, boom, I will generally hook on the basic half, and then come this way, just to cover him from trying to jump.
Is that better than having both of them?
Generally, yes, especially if you get a good bite. If I get a good bite, I'm going to that half guard because I know I can finish. If I, like let's say I get here, and most of you guys know when I kick your feet back here, I'm coming for this head. So James is going to look to either base out or do something out. Boom, then I'll keep feet on the hips because I may not finish that. But if I get here, bop, and I get a good bite, I'm coming in. I'm not keeping feet on the hips. Does that make sense? Ready? Drill it out. 1, 2, 3.